The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
For anyone who doesn't know, my guest, Ben, is made my childhood from the 2015 to 2019. He was an owner and promoter for SouthSide Wrestling, which at the time was one of the best in the country. I would say he's had so many guests on like the show. He's had numerous guests such as Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Moose, Cody Rhodes, MJF, Sean Spears, Brandy, Martin Kirby, Kip Sabian, Robbie X, countless others. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's all right. I really do appreciate your time. I've wanted to get you on for quite a while now, but you're a very, very, very busy man.
Sorry. I'm sometimes hard to tie down.
Yeah, sometimes you don't check your messages till late.
Yeah.
Did you manage to see the documentary of WCW?
No, not yet. It's on. I am going to watch it though.
I sent it you.
Yeah. I saw you send it to me. Yeah, I am going to watch it. Like I'd seen someone else put something up about it, so I'm going to have a watch. I do quite like seeing about the old days. I've got the book, The Death of WCW, which is a really good read. It was really, really different to any other wrestling book that I've read in the fact it looked at the commercial and business side of it as much as the wrestling side of it, and I quite enjoyed that and learning about that. It was quite interesting.
Yeah. It's one to watch, and it actually puts it into perspective on who actually fault it is. Everyone blames each other.
Yeah.
There's only one downfall in it. In my eyes, it boils down to money and greed, really.
Yeah, I feel that it had to hit really high notes just to break even. Their model was good in some ways. Like they were offering a lot of money to a lot of people. Some of them were probably deserved, and they were earning more than they'd get in WWE.
Yeah.
But there was others that he simply didn't need to pay that money to that he did. Obviously there was the NWO, but what I think as well he never done, they ruined the chance of building their own stars. They really did. Like when Bischoff went in, they had Sting and they had Flair and the Four Horsemen, and the only person they really ever built in all them years was Goldberg. So they had opportunities to build people, and all they done was threw money at established stars who'd already made it in WWE, WWF. So I feel that was their biggest undoing. They had a hell of a cruiserweight division. They had really good relationships with Japan. Could have been some really cool stuff, but they just put it on as a match. It was almost like a space filler. I feel they could have done more. But they didn't. I think one of the biggest fouls as well was giving so much creative control to Nash and Hogan. Who, especially Hogan, all he really cares about is himself. And I don't know if you ever heard the story about, or whether it's on the documentary, about when Sting, they'd done an angle where they took him off TV and shows for a year. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
And then he came back like the Crow. It should have been the biggest thing ever in WCW. And he'd come back after a year to take the belt off Hogan, and right at the last minute Hogan went, "No, actually I don't want to drop the belt." And that was so selfish. Funny enough, I watched on Undertaker's podcast thing he's doing, a short, and I heard him speak about Hogan, and they had their first match where Taker was going to win the belt for the first time. And Hogan had said to him, "Oh, I'm not comfortable taking your tombstone." And Taker had said to him, trust me, your head won't hit the floor. I know what I'm doing. It's fine." And anyway, hit with the tombstone, won the belt, and Hogan was overselling it, calling out to MT saying he thinks his neck's broken, he's in absolute terrible agony. He goes, he's dropped me on my head, everything. So they decided to take the belt off of Undertaker and put it back on Hogan because of that incident. And then Taker got to see it back, and Hogan's head never ever hit the canvas, and he pulled him about it. Hogan was like, "Oh, you know, I might not have hit, but I jolted my neck." And basically, Taker said that incident told me all I ever need to know about Hogan, and all he ever was about himself and keeping himself on top. Which,
Always does,
admittedly,
yeah.
that's what he done. But yeah, to the point, he's actually one of the wrestlers I hate most in the wrestling business ever. Like,
Yeah.
even though he's one of, if not the biggest name ever, or certainly was for a long time, I just despise him because he's always only ever been for himself, not the company.
Who
Went
would
off
you
on a
say?
tangent then, didn't I? Sorry.
A little bit, but it happens.
Yeah.
So we mentioned Southside. Talk to me about that. What made you start the promotion?
Why did I?
Yeah.
So I'd started going to British. It happened really quickly. I went to a Brit Rest show, and within 18 months, I'd done my first ever show. I went to a Brit Rest show in April 2000. April 2009. I'd gone to an Impact show. Someone told me about 1PW, so me and Harry headed up there to Doncaster, and they had a load of the ECW guys. And we went and we met some of them, and we were like, can't believe I've met people off the telly. Like, this is so cool. So we went to the next one in July, and then we went to the one in November and took my wife for the first time. We went to see that, and going into the next year, a lad near here put on a show. About 15, 20 miles from here, with quite a lot of the ones that I'd seen on 1PW and stuff. So I started talking to him, and then we done the show, and I was talking to him lots after and asked him if he'd be interested in doing it together, because he lived in a little village called Over and I was in St Neots. And he said, yeah, sure. The first one, we had loads of problems. Somebody called up because we didn't have a temporary events license, so it got cancelled. That was a big learning curve. But then we done it again. The first one lost a little bit of money. Then we decided to do the first one in St Neots, and I wanted to add to it. So I wanted to add Greg Burridge, who was really popular at the time, Marty Skell, who was local, who was really, really good. And I wanted a girls' match, and I got Paige and her mum to do a match. But the budget had gone up quite a bit, and my mate said, I'm not really in a good position financially. Do you mind if I just duck out? Like, I can still help you, but I don't want to be financially involved. Anyway, I'd done that show and I made £1,000. So I don't know if he was a little bit annoyed. But that went well, and then it proceeded from there. My mate quickly stopped doing it with me, but weirdly, he's still now one of my best mates, possibly my best mate. Like, neither of us are massively into wrestling anymore. We're both, like a lot of my friends, actually, wrestling friends, are much more into NFL now, and we watch NFL religiously and that. But I guess the initial thought was, why did I start? Was I thought I could do something in St Neots. When I found out the prices at the time that British wrestlers was charging, it was a lot cheaper than I thought it'd be. I knew a lot of kids Harry's age. I was a football coach. I think it only ended, really, I just wanted to see how it'd go if I'd done one, and then it went better than I could have ever believed. And then we just kept building and building and building, like bit at a time. Like, we never ever overshot ourselves, really, and never tried to do something too expensive that it could hinder our future.
Yeah.
So it took us a while to start building to them massive shows, you know. But yeah, that's why I started it, and obviously my love for wrestling. It was nice because we done it as a family. I think that appealed to a lot of the wrestlers that we were a family doing it. Especially Americans, they used to love it. Like Harry was loved by so many people. Like
Yeah.
Cody and Chavo both said, "Oh, I used to do all this stuff with my dad when I was young. Like I love it. Like all stuff like this." But yeah, that's why we started it anyway. I never ever in a million years imagined it would get as big as it did, and I'd do it for as long as I did.
9 years strong.
Yeah, and I'm pretty
Um,
proud. We went out on top. Like there's a
I mean,
lot
you
of
went out on top. Look at this guy who you had.
sorry.
Look at this guy
Yeah,
who you had.
yeah,
Talk to me about that. How? Because obviously you planned on going out with one big bang of a show. You wanted
yeah,
we'll say the OGs, Kaylee Ray, Joseph Connors, El Ligero, and other little bits and bobs people, and you had them.
yes.
And then
So
WWE pulled the plug.
yeah, so I had them all booked, agreed to WWE's conditions because there was a few. Sorry that I yawn. When I'm
All right.
concentrating, I yawn. I do apologise. Um, so we had Kaylee Ray, El Ligero, Joseph Connors. We also had oh shit, who was supposed to be debuting? Matey, who's in Imperium, German lad.
Walter.
No, the Walter's not German.
Oh no, he
No,
isn't, is he? Ludwig
no.
Kaiser.
Uh, he was actual teacher before. I'm not sure what his name is.
Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we had him booked. We had. Oh, God, I'm struggling to remember. But anyway, we had them all booked. It was all agreed with WWE. I actually wasn't too worried about imports. Like, it wasn't. I wanted it to be about the people that have been with us the longest. That was the most important thing. Like, we might have bring in a couple of imports, like maybe Ethan Page, because he was obviously chap for a while, done a lot for us. Maybe Andrew Everett, Mia Yim. But again, WWE pulled all of them. So I was having quite an argument with William Regal going back and forth. The reason they cancelled them is because they found out that I was selling to RevPro, and they don't like RevPro because RevPro's competition. Like WWE are a disgusting business. I don't know if things will change now Vince is away. They tend to suggest that they are going to change and work with others, but the things that WWE do to promotions that fans will never know about, constantly screwing with them, like it's unbelievable. Like they would let me announce a title match and then say to who's in it, they would say, "Oh, we want you to come down to the school for the weekend." And they're like, "Oh, well, could I just come the Sunday?" And they're like, "No, we need you all weekend." And it'd be my title match, and I'd go, "What can I say?" Like, and these are people not even signed to WWE. They wanted to give them tryouts. They would do it all the time. They do it even more to Rev Pro, or used to, when WWE UK was here. All the
Yeah.
time they do things like that. They mess with you. They're not a nice company. They and all this was because I was selling to Rev Pro. They started trying to make excuses that they didn't feel Rev Pro was a safe environment because there was an incident at a show. It was an incident that management couldn't do anything about because it happened in the ring at a show, and that person that caused it never worked for Rev Pro again. Rev Pro certainly isn't an unsafe place to work. In fact, if anything, it's the safest place to work. Andy was having things like paramedics at shows long before anyone else and stuff like that. So, so WWE done that. So I was arguing with Regal and I was saying, look, I'm going to go public with this, what you've done, because it's my show. It's not a RevPro show. I just wanted to go out in a special way. I've worked in this business for nearly 10 years and I deserve that. And he was just being all funny about it. So I wrote a tweet out and I basically just went, I'm truly brokenhearted. This is our last show. WWE have just pulled all of these talents after previously agreeing that they could work for me. They've done this because we're selling to RevPro or something like that. I really can't say how sad I am. And the tweet got retweeted like 100,000 times, and loads of people commenting. At the time, WWE were their name was mud. They didn't look after a lot of people, and there was a lot of bad blood going around about them in the news and stuff. And then Cody messaged me and said, "Hey man, what's up? Anything we can do to help?" And I said, "What are you thinking?" He goes, "Well, how come? What about me and Brandy come over and bring a few of the guys? We'll pay for everything." And that's what he done, true to his word. And he said he'd done it because when he first left WWE, I was the first guy in England he ever worked with, and I treated him really well, and he loved us as a family, and that's the reason he done it. So that's how we got AEW involved in that show, which I'm very grateful for, and very grateful to Cody, and really pleased for Cody how well he's doing now. He's been a brave man a lot and taken some real big chances, and they've all turned out right for him, which they should do. I've spoken to him on the day of the last two WrestleManias. We're not buddy or anything, but I've just sent him a message saying, like, your dad would be proud, well done, really pleased you're getting what you deserve. And he's responded on WrestleMania Day to me like each time. But he is a really good guy, like really good guy. And he was very brave what he done when he left WWE. Very brave, but I think Drew McIntyre or Drew Galloway was the first one to show you could go out on the indies and cause a stir and get WWE to want you back more desperately, give you more of a push, give you more money, etc. I think he made the initial jump and show people it could be done, but Cody took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And look at him now, sitting on top.
I agree with you and everything you've just said, and I didn't know most of that with what you said. And you mentioned obviously Drew Galloway, Drew McIntyre doing his thing, and Cody, and I think the person who's doing it now, and it's just a matter of when, is Matt Cardona.
Definitely.
You mentioned obviously that you sold to RevPro. Did you have any offers from anyone else?
Yeah. For more money as well.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not motivated by money. I'm luckily I've done all right in life, like not boasting or so. Money doesn't motivate me. What did motivate me was that RevPro was the best company in the UK, and would still put on quality shows. What I didn't want is me building up venues from scratch and building them into absolute hotbeds, especially like St Neots and Stevenage, and then me just closing down and some shitty promoter coming in and just taking over a venue and getting all my hard work, getting the credit, like building on my hard work. So yeah, I did have quite a few offers, like as well. I had an offer from Alex Shane, like for quite a bit more, but didn't want to sell to him. And then it was really weird. Something happened. Like Andy was one of only two promoters I truly learnt from and respected. Him and Dunny at NGW, Richard Dunn, they both helped me. I both saw really good things in the way they promoted. They were very different, but they both done some really great stuff. So I still used to talk to Andy regularly, and I can't remember what had happened. It was something shit, and I turned around and went, "You don't want to buy Southside, do you?" Literally joking. He went, "I might be interested." and it kind of went from there. And but yeah, other people had offered money, like, and I didn't sell because I didn't want them running my company. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, somebody offered nearly double like what I sold for, but
Wow. Did you get anyone from international that was interested?
no,
Just,
they were people that want to be in the business, were in the business,
yeah.
but yeah, I know I made the right decision. Like, I really did. Like, and Andy's a good person. He's a great promoter. Again, we promote in different ways, and but he's very switched on. He, I always describe me and him a football term of, if me and him were football managers, I'd
Yeah.
say that he was like Pep or Arsene Wenger or someone who saw things that other people won't see. But I was the one that saw things that I liked and that and done. And I describe myself like Harry Redknapp. Just
Yeah.
I pulled these bits out that I really liked, stuck them together, and they just worked. Whereas I think there was a lot more possibly thought go into it. I don't know, from RevPro and Andy, but yeah, I mean, he's obviously been a huge success. I don't think as well fans ever regard how hard it is to make money in wrestling. So
One of the hardest
the
things to do, isn't it?
the easiest way to make money in wrestling is to put on a shit show. Like, that sounds stupid, right? But anybody that's been going for years and years and years and does well financially is people like Bagger at LDN, who's got beautiful venues but can sell tickets really cheap because he pays wrestlers really cheap, doesn't put on a very good show, doesn't care, makes all his money out of merch as well because he's
Yeah.
sold the tickets so cheap, he's attracted a load of people. And, fair play to him, that's the way he wanted to do it. And there's lots of people like that. I only ever wanted to be one of the best. Like, and that's that is really hard to make money. We've seen all these promotions pop up over the years. They've got a whirlwind of attention. People thinking this is a hot new promotion, and then they do like 4 shows and they're having to take a break. And they're having to take a break because they've got no money left, and they now have to try and save some money to put on another show.
Yeah.
Like, and because they were booking all like indie people that everyone wanted to see, but it's really hard to make money. Like, I don't believe anybody was putting on the shows of our standard and making money like we were, like bringing over the Americans. I'm not going to include Andy in that, but I believe compared to the rest, like I know now, like Progress that are hemorrhaging money. Like, the guy that's brought it, I've been told he's lost like $250,000. Like, it's really, really hard to make money out of wrestling, especially doing it well. Like, and so I'm pretty proud that we done that. And don't get me wrong, we had some shows where we lost some money, but like overall, we definitely weren't losing money. But I once done a show in London and lost $2,000 in a day. I was like, Jesus. And I had a show the next day and made it back. But that day I was like, why did I do this? Like, I worked really hard doing everything and bloody lose $2,000. Like I said, the next day we made it all back. Like, but basically that weekend, overall, it was like
Yeah.
broke even kind of thing. But we won a hell of a lot more than we lost. And like some of our big ones, like we used to make really good money on, especially like Stevenage and that.
Yeah. Speaking of Stevenage, you're the person who can say they've had Gail Kim's last ever match in the UK,
Yeah,
and I was there to witness that.
yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, it should have been her last ever match. She just came out retirement for one more match, didn't she?
Yeah.
But how it worked was, so obviously I knew Gal and she'd worked for me before, and I saw that she was retiring in October or say at Bound for Glory. I think it was for Impact was a retirement, and I messaged her and said, I know you've put October, you're going to retire, but I'm all booked up. I've got a show at the beginning of February next year. Would there be any chance you'd want to do that? She goes, I'd love to have my final ever match in England and I'd love to do it for you. And I was like, cool. So that was cool. It was all cool as well. The Impact, like TNA Impact owners came over and watched it. Like Scott D'Amore was there.
I didn't know that.
A couple of us, yeah. They were there. Like, flew over and said, like, anything we'd ever help with. Like, I wanted to go into partnership with them. And at the time, they just weren't looking to do that. Like, and I think like I used a lot more Impact guys than anyone else, and I could have done it really well. Like, but didn't happen. But yeah, I thought they had a lot of good talent there. But yeah, that was cool doing Gal's match. I remember her saying that she won't cry. She never cries. She's not like that. She goes, I never cried at my last match at Impact. In the ring or behind the curtain, and we made her cry 3 times that night.
That whole event and that whole card was top notch. You had Gail Kim, James Storm, Jimmy Jacobs, Andrew Everett's MVP. Amongst the
was a Biss on it? I don't know if he was actually. Yeah, it was a good card. I looked at it earlier when I was looking at stuff saying to put on Facebook, and yeah, it's pretty nice card.
Yeah, I mean, I've met some of the all-time greats through you, which that's amazing. Yeah, just one thing that I want to get to is you posted on Facebook a couple of days ago. I see that big smile.
I thought you might ask this.
Mentioning some, I can't think what you put, like, what if or
I think I
made emoji.
What if it? I put saying if what if we were to do it just for one more time for one night only, or something like that, and
Yeah,
then
talk to me
I've
about
got hell of a lot of comments on there. So I'll let the cat out the bag. We were going to do a comeback show, but the original plan for it we've had to nix just because I couldn't get the people I wanted, and if I was ever going to do a comeback show, it has to be perfect, not just for the sake of doing it. So we're not doing it. The Priory Centre in St Neots is closing down at the end of July, so we were looking at doing that last ever show in there before it closed, but I just couldn't get the talent I wanted. Too many people I wanted weren't available, so we decided not to do it. And then I've spoken to Andy at revpro, and we're talking. So we might see something in Stevenage. Watch this page.
Golden Parade Theatre. That will be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Do you have a timeline on it that you're hoping for? Maybe end of the year, early 2025? Do you reckon?
Something like that.
Sounds good. I won't test you for any more information.
To be honest, I don't even really know anymore at the moment. It's literally, we made the decision yesterday not to go ahead with July. Myself and Andy have had a quick chat about it, and literally what I've just told you is probably as far as the chat's gone. But
yeah,
like Andy's open to us doing it. But yeah, it's got to be right. We went out for a bang. If we're gonna do a one-off, it has to be right. I wanna fill every seat. Like otherwise, it's not worth doing. But I've already got some cool little things in my head. So nothing's for certain. No deal's done, but it's in my mind floating about, and I think there's a pretty good chance it's going to happen.
Awesome.
but it is only for one night. Southside isn't coming back full time. I wouldn't ever want to, like, but it will be cool doing one night, I guess.
Awesome. So we will finish with an inspirational message from you, Ben.
Okay, my inspirational message is you only live once. So the reason this message comes about is, sorry to sound a bit morbid, but my mum at 62 and my stepdad retired, and they sold their house and they moved down to the coast. They bought a beautiful house literally on the beach and two other houses to rent out. They were renovating the one on the beach, so they went to live in one of the other ones, and they were going to buy a camper van. They had all these trips planned, traveling around Europe. They got a dog for the first time ever at 62. They were really going to enjoy their retirement, and they'd been down there 5 minutes. My mum found out she had terminal cancer, and unfortunately she passed away. So my mindset now is very much, don't put off what you can do today. Don't put it off till tomorrow. If you can do it, do it. And I know before we went live, you talked about my holidays and my trips, because I go on a lot of holidays now. It's because I want to see and experience things. I don't care about money. Like I've got a pretty decent house and garden and nice car and that, but I'm not motivated by money. I literally just want to spend all my money, spare money that I have, on experiences now. I love sport. I love going to like NFL and basketball and ice hockey games over in America, so I do that a hell of a lot. I want to see places, visit. Like, I just want to experience as much as I can in my life, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but there's going to be a point where either I'm dead and can't do it, I'm too ill to do it, or I can't afford to do it. So at this moment, I haven't got any of them problems. So I am going to do what I can. So my motivational message is, you only live once. And it's better to regret things that you've done than not done. You know, you only live once. Enjoy life. Get in as much as you can to it, because you only get one shot at it. And at some point, when you're an old person sitting in your armchair, barely being able to move, you can look and think back about all their memories.
Yeah, I like that, man.
One more thing to add to it. Sorry, there's Ed Sheeran's got a tattoo of a phrase from a song by the Streets. And I love the song by the Streets, and the chorus says to it, I came to this world with nothing, but I leave with nothing but love. Everything else is just borrowed. I do need to get that tattooed on me somewhere. That's a cool.
Cool pretty covered on.
Yeah. So live for today. Enjoy. Do as much as you possibly can, and just experience stuff, because you only live once.
I like that. Thank you for your time, mate. I really do appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime. If you want part two, let me know.
Oh, I definitely will. Just have to try and get in touch with you 1,000 times.
I'll
cheers,
try
Ben.
and get back to you a bit better. Take care.
No
Bye.
worries, Thank you.